winner of Mr. World, he works at the bank.
Oh, really?
To be a Mr. India, you have to think on your own, you have to be well read, you have to be well spoken. One simple thing that really helps you in a Q&A is to not think about how to impress, but just to answer what comes to your mind. People lesser than 5'7", they can always go for commercial modeling. Shoots are any day have better pay than a ramp.
What were the challenges you faced to prepare for Mr. World as compared to Mr. India?
I didn't know how to swim before. There were swimmers from Australia and who are natural swimmers. It's that competitive spirit that I wanted to show.
Are there any grooming agency for men?
If you're an absolute amateur and you have no idea about the fashion industry, you can definitely go for an agency.
I think fitness is the one thing you can't buy over money, I guess.
When someone compliments me about the way I look, I never feel pride about it. But if someone compliments me over my physique, that is something that I take immense pride.
What does it take to make it a Mr. India?
When I was at Mr. World, we had gone to a veteran military nursing house. Suddenly they're like, you have to get up and address the gathering.
Okay.
How can you connect to a Vietnamese audience
okay.
who can't actually understand English?
So what do you do to keep your mental health in place?
Whatever title you have, or whatever title you don't have, nobody is going to come running to you. You will have to go out there, work for it.
In our Figuring Fashion podcast, we got a lot of requests to have male model as a guest. And we went ahead and got 2024 Mr. India Gokul Ganesh on our show. Subscribe to us to see more models like this on our show, because the more you subscribe to us, the better the guest will be able to bring to our show. Enjoy the podcast. So Mr. India and Mr. World is a far dream for a lot of people. To be able to achieve that and to be able to dream about it and achieve that is a really big thing. And you have done it. So how are you?
I'm good. I'm actually sitting here as a male model because
Okay.
you guys are doing a great job, by the way. This is
Thank you so much.
Figuring Fashion from South India, the first ever fashion podcast from southern part of our country.
Yeah.
And I also got to know that I'm the first male model doing this
Yes, of
podcast.
course.
So that feels great.
We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being here. And coming back to your question, it felt on top of the world. And I think that's one of my arc moments in my life, which I will always recollect and feel immense joy, pleasure, and pride because I got to represent my country, which was a very big dream of mine. And I hope I did justice.
Okay. So what interests someone in getting into Mr. India? Because you have been a successful model throughout your career. So what interested you to get into Mr. India particularly?
Actually, it was the other way around.
Okay.
I became a model after I wanted to become Mr.
Oh, really?
India.
Okay.
Yeah. Since I was a kid, I always wanted to become a soldier and do something for my country. I think it was a selfless act that really sort of put me in that position to do something for my country. And when I grew up, unfortunately, I couldn't
Okay.
get into the army because of familial pressure. My
okay.
dad put a full stop to that. And then I sat down and I thought, what am I really good at? What is something that drives me? That's when fashion, fitness, and the whole pizzazz of being a gentleman. That is something that I've always wanted to put on top of my shelf. When I put all of that in a single bowl and I stirred it, Mr. India just
Correct.
fit
So
perfectly.
that was the
well.
only thing which
Yeah.
matched all the.
Yeah, it just made sense.
Correct.
Just made
So,
sense.
so do you have to be a model to get into Mr. India, or someone who's working a 9 to 5 job can also be participate in Mr. India?
Anybody can become a Mr. India as far as they have a certain quality.
Okay.
For example, it could be disciplined. It is about how articulate you are with your thoughts. How can you derive to conclusions on your own, because you see a lot of things, right? And how it could be politics also. I'm saying from politics to fashion to anything, how you become an individual who can actually think about things on their own and can convey it in the rightful manner that people actually listen to it. These are qualities that people don't talk about. Generally, if you go ask anybody how to become a Mr. India, what they say is, yeah, work on your physique.
So you can
And then
get ready for the ramp.
Yeah, walk the ramp in a really good way. But if you take the winner of Mr. World, he works at the bank.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
he works
okay,
at the
okay.
bank. He was
Daniel,
never a
I
model.
guess.
Yeah, Daniel.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Daniel Mahia. He's a very close friend of mine.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversation during our pageant. So it has nothing to do with your profession. Actually, as far as I see, it's a title that is given to someone who has the right qualities,
Okay.
and the qualities keep changing between people. But how well read and how perspective filled are you with, in sort of in terms of things, or education, it could be anything, politics, employment. If I ask you something, and what is your thought about it, that will make you stand out.
Correct,
Because
correct,
when you
correct.
ask me a certain question, and I tell you, yeah, I work on your physique, and that everybody
Everybody
knows
knows that. Yes, yes.
that being fit is something has
That is a
become,
given.
it's like a
Everybody.
mandate. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes.
a given. Like when you say you're on the ramp or you're on a stage, you have to be fit. That's a given. But focus on the things that are actually a little bit more deeper, because that's how I think you'll make a difference also.
Okay.
Yeah, so as I was saying, to be a Mr. India, you have to think on your own, you have to be well read, you have to be well spoken. Because imagine you go to someone who's titled as Mr. India, that's a huge title, right? It's a country of 1.57 billion odd people. And you go say hi, and they're like, they don't know how to speak, they don't know the etiquettes of how to
Correct, correct.
interact with a person, how to stay calm. That just doesn't come off as someone, that's not someone who you would see as Mr. India. So I would always say, be well read, well spoken,
Okay.
think on your own, build perspectives, and always have something to say about everything.
Super. So, what is the process of Mr. India? So, you enroll in your forms
Yeah.
and you give your audition video. So, what happens
Yes.
next? How many rounds are there?
They do the job for you, which is shortlisting.
Okay.
That's when you know you're either in or you're either
Okay, let's
out.
say you get shortlisted after that.
Yeah, after that they get on a call with you.
Okay.
And you talk, they just randomly ask you anything. It
Okay.
could be how does your day look like, or it could
Okay.
be what did you do for graduation, where do you work, or what are your interests, and do you have any prior experiences on stages.
Okay.
They could ask you about anything, like anything. They could ask you about your style, your history, anything.
Okay.
And then it is all of that is just to gauge what you are as a person. Like how do you come off? Because when you speak to someone, it's very easy to understand, and you get an idea, right? The first time you speak is when you get an idea of what sort of a person you are meeting.
Correct.
So it is just that happens, and once that is done, you're called to the final day, which is where they drill you with all sorts of rounds. Your swimwear round happens,
Okay.
your ramp walk round happens, your introduction happens, and
So,
then
in each of these rounds, some people will be getting
you're
Okay.
eliminated. It's elimination round only. You get knocked out or you get in.
Okay.
Either of these two. Then
How
you're
many rounds like that?
four, five.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
five. And then there comes your Q&A. Q&A is where most of the people, they get on their nerves. But one simple thing that really helps you in a Q&A is to not think about how to impress, but just to answer what comes to your mind.
Oh, okay.
Because the first time that I was standing there after Mr. India, this is after Mr. India, I was preparing for Mr. World, for Mr. World, and they always have juries, mock juries. Like,
Okay.
how are you going to present yourself?
Okay, okay.
But the first time I was so bad. Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
You can.
I so bad.
Okay.
You have no idea. I was really sweating because I was only thinking, how do I impress this guy,
This
and
set
how
of
do I
juries.
impress this jury, right? And that really put me in a spot because I couldn't answer what I wanted to. Instead, I was thinking, how can I answer that will make that person,
Doesn't impress.
To
impress that
validate
person.
my response. Now that becomes a completely different thought process where you don't know what to say because you actually don't know how to impress the opposite person, and your thought process crashes and you have nothing to say, and you just blink there like an idiot, which is what really goes bad.
Okay.
So my thought after that change was, why do I have to be afraid to be who I am? When you ask me something as like, tell me something about your childhood, I'm talking about my childhood, right? Not yours. Why do I need to panic? Or why do I have that urge to stand out or impress someone with my childhood? It just has to be an honest answer, which comes from the heart. That's it. It could be when they asked me, I told that my childhood was all about eating biscuits and having fun and stealing money from my
Okay.
parents so I can go play on the game station next street. So it was something like
Okay,
that.
okay, okay.
Because you don't have a perfect answer when it comes to personal questions,
Correct, correct.
right? It's very subjective. It comes from your life and your experiences and your thought process.
And what if they are not impressed?
Okay, now I asked you, what did you eat for lunch yesterday?
Yesterday, what did I eat? I
Yeah,
ate biryani, I guess.
you ate biryani. Now, do you think that will impress me?
No.
That is how it is,
Okay, okay.
because over there what they're trying to gauge is, maybe you could give a better answer. It's like, oh, for lunch yesterday, you know what, I ordered this biryani from this place.
Okay, okay.
It came in, and the first bite,
It was so
mind was
delicious.
blown.
So even
Now,
if I
now will you be impressed with my answer?
yeah.
It's the same answer.
Okay.
You ate biryani, so it is only how you present
Correct,
it.
correct. Even
That
if
is
I
all
was a
there is.
vegetarian also, I will be impressed by the answer.
Yeah, with that answer, it was like, oh,
Mm.
I know biryani is not veg biryani is not biryani, but you should try it from this place. That meal maker tastes
okay.
exactly like chicken, and
Mm.
it's the best. Now you'll also be like, oh, this guy had
Correct, correct.
biryani.
Okay.
But till then, what did you think? It's like, oh, biryani.
Okay, okay.
That's
So
the
it's the way you
only
articulate.
difference. It's the only difference that you can actually bring to the table.
Okay, okay.
Because there is no perfect answer. Now,
Mm.
I can't say that yesterday I had a 7-course meal at Leela Palace.
Okay.
No, because that's not true. And that maybe might impress someone who's looking at you with the aspect that, okay, this guy has this stature, so he should eat from this place. All of that. That becomes wrong, because the viewer
But
is
that would be
then,
so fake, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. The viewer is then,
Viewers can easily find
yeah,
out. No?
it's because then it comes from a perspective where that you're gauging what I had yesterday to my stature and all of that. That is not true. You just have to be honest, simple, and plain. Maybe you can present it always in a better manner,
Correct,
which will be exciting and interesting. That is the game changer. That's all. That is all you need to work on.
Perfect, perfect. So what are all the age restrictions to get into Mr. India?
I just it keeps changing actually, but for this year it's 20 to 34.
Oh, okay. 34. Okay.
Yeah, 34.
And what would be the height criteria?
5'7" and above.
Okay, okay.
Anybody?
Okay. So there are some people who don't meet that height criteria. What would be your advice to them? Because they think they miss out on this. No?
Okay, it is not that they're not trying to be inclusive or not. Now, if you go to a police job for that matter, they also have a height criteria.
criteria,
It's what the job demands out of you, and you have to place yourself in a manner or put yourself in a place where you are suited best. Maybe for on stage, or when you're competing with European men or men who are 6'3", 6'5", from an international perspective, we would want someone who could stand out and make a strong point.
Correct, correct.
No matter how hard we try to deceive the fact that, okay, looks are not everything, but when you come on stage with 60 other contestants, for you to stand out, there are certain criteria that you have to meet for us to make that strong impact.
Correct.
On it's just stage presence that we're talking about. It's not the personality. It's not how the person looks. Or I know it might come off rude and not inclusive, but I think the terms have changed a lot from before, which was, I think before it was 5'10" or 6, but now they've also included till 5'7". And for people lesser than 5'7", they can always go for commercial modeling, because on screen they look the best, because as long as, in fact, they have an advantage, because the co-actors and everybody, it's easier to coordinate and put them all in a frame when you're of certain height, so they have a great advantage.
Okay.
It's about how you play
So
with your
someone should
strengths.
not restrict themselves based on their height.
Yeah,
they
don't
have
restrict
multiple
it.
options.
They have multiple options. Now, for a guy who's as tall as me, for example, 6'3", ramp could be a killer option for him to just pursue ramp modeling.
What would be your disadvantage then?
Yeah, again, now if you put me in a, let's say, a TV serial for that matter, maybe the co-actors that I have are not as tall as me, so that the framing becomes a problem. Now, I have to read everything, right? When you walk into a room, you read the room, and you have to play with your strengths. You can't be like, this is my weakness. I'm not saying that actors have as tall as me don't get the opportunity. There are a lot of people. Even Amitabh Bachchan is 6'2" and he's the biggest superstar. But what I'm trying to say is that everybody have their own strengths and weaknesses. It's for us to identify and play with it.
I asked this question because one of our viewers asked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was
He,
why
he
do
was
they have
also
a
trying to
criteria?
be a model and he wanted this question to ask to a particular male
So
model.
for people, like exactly what I'm trying to say is, for people who think they are short for the ramp, or who do not meet the height criteria, there is always commercial modeling where you can do print shoots, TVCs, which is a huge market, by the way.
Correct.
And shoots are any day have better pay than a ramp. That is also there. So you can definitely explore. There's a lot of inclusivity
Okay.
these days.
So how different is what? How different was it in terms of preparation when it comes to Mr. India and Mr. World?
Okay.
Yeah. Was it very hard, and what were the challenges you faced to prepare for Mr. World as compared to Mr. India?
Okay. I would actually say there is no preparation that can prepare you for something like a beauty pageant. You can follow, obviously, you go through training sessions and all of that. But in the end, what is being actually tested at a beauty pageant is who you are as a person. Now, can you train that? No. You can only train to put it on a better plate. Like, you can present it in a great manner. You can always learn, work hard on your communication and how to, quickly think and have, like I said, build perspectives, and all of that can be worked on. And in terms of mental prep, from Mr. India to Mr. World, the only thing that gets added on is that you are competing within the country. Now you're representing
The
that
country. Okay.
Once you understand that jump, automatically you'll start taking in the pressure and the load in a certain way that you have to push yourself like never before, because now this is the biggest task.
Correct.
All these years of prep or competing or whatever you did comes to a true sense only when you present yourself in the best way at the biggest male pageant, which is Mr. World for me.
Okay.
um, it is a lot of mental
Okay.
training that you have to do, because you have to a lot of things will also pull you down, and you'll also have a lot of things that you look forward to.
Okay.
It's important to
So
find
what
that
will
balance.
what will pull you down?
uh, Now, let's say you face some sort of social media backlash, or you are in a position where you feel like you're being taken around, because you don't have that control to do things on your own,
Okay. Okay.
because you have a great power comes
the
great
great responsibility.
responsibility. So that's how it is. And as long as you can read all of it, but it's a life changing journey. I can surely give that in writing as well.
Okay.
What you walked into and what you walk out as are,
What you walk out from the Mr. World?
yeah, from Mr. India. Once you become Mr. India, and after you come back after the pageant, it's completely
Different.
how
Okay.
you look at things will change,
Okay.
because there's so much more than what we think there is in this world. And you'll meet people from so many countries that you didn't even know of from before, and then they become like your brothers. And
Okay. Okay.
it's a life
Are you
changing.
still in touch with them?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
See,
Mm.
thankfully, one of the greater advantages of social media is it's very easy to know what the other person is doing
Correct.
through stories, and you can just put a text as a reply, and it's like, this is good, like, how have you been? And I've
Okay.
been in touch with a
Super,
lot of my
super.
batchmates.
So in one of your interviews, we saw that you learned swimming to get into Mr. World.
Yeah.
So likewise, what are all the things that you have to learn to get into Mr. World?
Okay, at the pageant, which is a 20-day long pageant, you get tested through all acumen. It could, right, starting from fitness to your ramp, to your speaking skills, to everything. How compassionate you are with your roommates, to your
Okay.
batchmates. Everything is, because it shows, right?
Okay,
And
okay.
what sort of a person that you are. You can't, maybe you can fake it for 10 days max. At some point, it will just burst
Come
out.
off.
So it comes, they test you in all acumens. And But one more thing is you get to choose if you want to participate in a talent round, or if you want to participate in a swimming round for that matter. I didn't know how to swim before, and and I still struggle to swim
Okay.
because I have not practiced it every day. There were swimmers from Australia and who are natural swimmers. That's all they've been doing that for all their life,
Okay.
like since they were 3 years old and 2 years old. They've been swimming, but it's that competitive spirit that I wanted to show, right? Because
Okay.
I don't know how to swim. There is a competition. There is an event.
Even though it's an optional round, you
Yeah,
don't
it's
want to
an
skip.
optional round. I could have
Skipped it.
easily skipped it. I could have said, no, I don't know how to swim because that was
Okay.
never
But
taught to me. Or
does that affect your score in getting to the
see,
top 8?
it is always good when you have a competitive spirit and when you put yourself out there for everything,
Okay.
because the whole point of the beauty pageant is for you to show what you're made of.
Correct.
And if you don't take the opportunities, you won't be seen by the right people. You won't have that exposure.
Correct.
And the whole journey becomes, it's like nothing is optional there. No, you just have to go and do everything. Even if you can, if you can't, you just put your leg forward and do it. That's the
Correct.
spirit that I wanted to show, and that's what I think I
Okay.
did.
Okay. And what about Kalaripaiti? That also you learned.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
also
yeah.
an option.
So that I performed Kalari for my talent round. I wanted to show something that is from India, and it is very, very rich in art form, culture, heritage,
Heritage.
all of it. And Kalari is an insane form of
Did you
art.
know Kalaripaiti
No,
before?
I did not know before.
Oh,
I
okay.
trained especially for
Superb.
this, and even pulled few strings. By that, I quite literally mean that I pulled my
Okay.
hamstring
Okay. Okay.
while I was training for Kalari Pite. It's a very taxing. You think you're fit, and then you do Kalari, and then it shows
Okay.
who
Okay.
you are.
Okay.
Because I
You need
thought,
to have the
oh,
endurance, I guess. No?
yeah, you need to have the endurance, the flexibility, the agility to move
Okay.
fast, to turn quickly. Your joints have to be activated in the right way. So I thought I was fit, right? I go to the gym every day. I have a great
Okay.
diet, and then I was building a physique. I thought I was fit until I started doing Kalari. I was like, I just did it for 90 seconds, and I was like
Okay.
almost blacking out. Because it had so many movements. You have to focus on stability, control your mind muscle connection has to be so good
Okay.
that your core has to balance your whole body, because it's a lot of things.
Okay.
It's insane. Actually, it opened a new door for me, and I always wanted to do new things.
But it's good that you chose Kalaripaiti for your talent round.
Yeah, because see, again, it is a form of martial
Martial
art,
arts.
but it also can be turned into a dance form, sort of, because it has those flowy movements with a weapon in it and all
Correct.
of
Correct.
that. And my message after the talent round was, martial art or whatever form of offense is only for defense. Never be the first person to, never support violence. It is to protect you and the people around you, never to.
Okay.
So that was my message
Okay.
after my
Okay.
talent round.
Okay.
Like, we have this country which is filled with art forms like these, and I wanted to bring you a piece of that to the world. That was my opening statement, and the
Okay.
ending was, martial arts is only for defense, so please use it only
Okay.
for that. So that was the message that I wanted to put.
Great. Great. We see there are a lot of grooming agency for women to train them for Miss India or something. Are there any grooming agency for men?
There are a lot of grooming agencies
Okay.
who train you for pageants, but there are no specific agencies for men,
Particularly for men. Okay.
particularly for men. And also, the reason being, there is no huge platform for male pageantry in India,
Okay.
for that matter. If
Yeah.
you see, I'm sure you would remember all the Miss Indias and the Miss Worlds. What would struggle to name a few Mr. Indias
India.
and
Yeah.
who represented and who went for which pageant. And it is, as the audience, is how we consume what we consume, right?
Okay.
So we have more fans for women pageantry
Okay.
than male
Do you
pageantry.
think this will change in future?
I would love for it to change, because male pageantry is also a very big thing, very big platform for people to go out there, make our country proud, and show what we are made of. Also, because it's such a it's such a great experience altogether, and to compete with 60 odd countries and then show that we can
Okay.
also get through. It's a great feeling. I really hope that we get more audiences for male
Okay.
pageantry.
Okay. Okay. But did you go to any grooming agency?
No, I did not go through
Okay,
any
okay.
agency. And after I was titled as Mr. India, I had an in-house team which
Mm.
were solely
But to
dedicated
train
to
you for the
preparing
Mr.
me for
India
Mr.
thing,
World. No, I was not part of any agency
superb.
for
But you did
taking.
it by yourself.
Yeah, I
Okay,
just
great, great.
it's what I saw. It's what I think. Through what I saw and through what I observed,
Mm.
it just become a part of me. And I also had the title Rubru Mr. India,
Mm,
right,
mm,
for
yeah.
about 1 year,
2 years, I guess.
1.5 years.
Mm,
So when I was
mm.
titled as Rubru Mr. India,
Mm.
Model International, I was also working closely with the organization. So
Okay, okay, okay.
I saw what was happening at pageants, and
Mm.
one thing I really understood is there's no there's no way you can prepare someone to be themselves.
Mm, mm,
So it's
mm.
just who you
Okay,
are and become the best version of it.
okay, okay. But what about for modeling? Let's say for a guy who wants to enter into modeling, does he
Yeah.
have to go to any grooming agency to be a model, or can he train himself?
There is no hard and fast rule.
Mm, okay.
If you're an absolute amateur and you have no idea about the fashion
Mm.
industry and what is required to be a model and what is professionally
Oh,
expected from you, uh,
you
you can
can go.
definitely go for an
Mm,
agency. Even I have a friend who runs it in Bombay, and I
mm,
have a few people who run it.
mm.
I have friends who run agencies in Bombay,
What is the name
and
of?
one is A Square Entertainment, another
Okay.
is Blank Canvas
Mm,
Media
mm,
Private
mm,
Limited. All of these people
mm.
are close
Super.
friends, and they have agencies.
Mm,
But having said that, like I said, there is no hard and fast rule.
mm,
As long as you can get into a set, understand the assignment and what is
mm,
expected of you and what you can bring to the table. For example, I walk in for a shoot. First things, your angles, your
mm,
lights,
mm.
because you have to understand where the light is coming from, where the cameraman is at, what are you promoting, is it the product. You have to always make sure that the product is also seen.
Correct.
In modeling, it's not just you or
It's not about
how
you.
you
Mm,
emote.
mm,
It's about how you understand the
mm,
atmosphere, use it,
mm.
and best sell the product that you're shooting for.
Correct,
That
correct.
is when you get more
Mm,
projects, right?
mm.
Because no brand will come to make you look good. They're here for their product.
Correct,
As long
correct.
as you understand that assignment
Mm,
and keep it minimal and do and give that angle and that poses which suit really well for
mm.
that particular product, I think you can get through with it.
Okay, okay.
And you get that through experience, understanding, and as a professional model,
Mm,
you're also expected to. For example,
mm.
I go to a shoot and I just walk in without my makeup or my
Mm,
basic white or black solid tee. That becomes quite unprofessional because that is expected of you.
mm,
Now,
mm.
even today when I came to the podcast, I
Okay.
did carry
Your kid.
my makeup kit,
Okay.
like,
Mm.
because that is something that is expected of me.
So you do that to every shoot.
Yeah, every
Okay,
shoot
okay,
that I
okay.
have,
Mm.
that is a mandate.
Okay, okay. Is this because you participated in Miss India, or even before that you do the same thing?
No, as a model,
Mm.
when I was working in fashion weeks, shoots, and all of this is what I've learned and cultivated,
Mm.
because this is what will differentiate you from an amateur to
A
someone who knows
professional.
their job,
Mm.
right? When you
Mm.
want to be professional about something,
Mm.
you should leave no stone unturned.
Correct, correct,
So
correct.
that is
Yeah.
how.
How prepared one should get for getting into Mr. India in terms of physically?
I think it is a statement in itself,
Mm.
because if you want to achieve a physique of your dreams
Mm.
or sculpted abs,
Mm.
it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and self control more than anything. You
Mm.
stop eating half of the things that you eat, and you'll,
Okay.
because it's rightfully said that abs are made in the kitchen.
Okay.
It
Mm.
You go to the gym, you do your crunches, you do 1,000 of them, you still won't get it as
Mm.
long as you shred that fat away,
Mm.
and
Mm.
that can only happen when you stop eating things that will add that fat. So
Okay. Okay. Okay.
um, it is very important. I
Mm.
think if you're a Mr. India, a physique and your fitness regime really matters, because a
Mm.
lot of people look up to you, and it's a statement in itself. It kind of shows how dedicated and
Mm. Mm.
self controlled you are.
I think fitness is the one thing you can't buy over money, I guess. No?
No, it's something that you,
Y-
even when some okay,
Mm.
I really want to say something about it.
Yeah, yeah.
When someone compliments me about the way I look,
Mm,
I never feel pride about it.
mm.
I feel grateful because it was given to me. It
Yes,
was
yes.
not something that I earned. That
Okay.
was given to be
Mm,
me by my mom and my dad.
mm.
I had nothing to do with it.
Correct.
How my face looks, it's 100% natural, by the way. So
Okay.
how it looks
Mm,
has I have nothing to do with. But
mm,
if
mm.
someone compliments me over my physique,
Physique.
now that
That's a
is something that
really.
I take immense pleasure,
Mm.
pride, and joy in, because that I've worked, that I've
There
built
are
it
no
brick by
shortcuts,
no
no?
no shortcuts.
Mm,
No, don't fall for the short versions of anything. If you
mm,
want something that lasts, and if you want to learn it the right way, you have to do the hard way. You
mm,
have to go it the hard
mm.
way. So
Okay. And how prepared someone should be in terms of finance?
financial, that is again very
Mm,
subjective, because how you can pull in the sponsors and
mm-hmm.
how you communicate with the brands and who wants to come on board
Okay,
to
okay.
help you, to support you,
Mm,
if that you can pull off with the title that you're given,
mm.
then you don't have to be financially strong.
Okay, okay.
But to endure this,
Mm,
you have to have some backup, that
okay.
having
Mm,
that you should always have in your
mm.
mind.
Okay. So, what would be your workout routine? We see that you are very fit from the beginning of your career.
No,
Mm,
I got into fitness
mm.
much before I got into modeling
Okay.
and all of it. In fact, I used to enjoy powerlifting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is what I trained during my college.
Okay. You're doing that now
And
also?
no, now
Okay.
I don't lift heavy at all, because it's very highly risky also.
Mm,
It's
mm,
injury prone.
mm.
And there was a phase that I went through, and I'm through it
Okay.
now. Now
Mm,
I just want to be strong,
mm,
and I want to move fast, and I want to do everything. I want to
mm.
run, I want to swim, I want to dance.
Okay, okay.
And then I have to be physically fit, because if I want to get into films and I want
Mm,
to do action and all of that, so
okay.
that is how my thought process is right now.
Okay.
And
Mm,
internal health matters really
mm.
high to me, because if you can't take care of your gut and your internal organs are failing, there's no point in
Mm.
being fit physically
Correct, correct.
outside. So all
So,
of
what
that.
would be your routine like
My
every
routine
day?
is, yeah, it's the classic split. Someday I
Mm,
do push, someday I do pull, and then the
mm.
next day I do legs.
Okay.
And I make sure I hit all the muscles from all different angles.
Mm,
And cardio is a must, and
mm.
I maintain a proper diet. And I
Okay,
would
okay.
love to play sports, actually. That's something that I really miss out on. I want to pick up a sport and just do it
Mm,
every
mm,
week,
mm, mm.
not to be great at it, but
But just to get
but
you going.
just to get you, because what
Mm.
a sport does, you can't do it at the gym.
Okay, okay, okay. So, how important do you think the rest and recovery part?
Oh, it's as important as, in
Mm.
fact, more important, actually. Recovery,
I
when you
think a lot of
say,
people are not focusing on the rest and recovery part.
yeah, when
There are
you
people who
say,
are overtraining,
yeah,
like.
correct.
Mm,
No, even overtraining, when you
mm,
say recovery, nutrition becomes a part of it.
mm, mm, mm,
And for me, this is how I would say,
mm,
if building a physique is
mm,
100%, 80% is rest and recovery,
mm,
20% is what you
mm,
do at the gym. It's how
mm,
you train, not only at the gym, like whatever sort
mm,
of training you follow,
mm.
it's 20%.
Okay.
Because you can lift 120 kilos today and not rest properly and not eat properly, and then go back to the gym and do it again, you'll only get injured.
Correct. Correct.
So you have to make sure you prioritize that also.
Mm,
That is
mm,
very important.
mm,
And nutrition, again, I'll stress on it as much as I can.
mm.
Nutrition is the most important thing when it comes to being the well-being of a human body,
Correct.
because once you become
Mm,
healthy
mm.
and your mind is active, you will not want to sit at the same place anyway.
You'll be
It's,
moving.
yeah, you will
Okay.
be moving. See,
Okay.
for me, I don't like sitting at the same place,
Mm, mm,
unless and until it's like a Saturday night and my friends have come over and we are playing FIFA all night.
mm.
That I have those days as well, which
Okay.
I
Okay. Mm,
thoroughly enjoy, where
mm,
I'm just eating junk food
mm.
and having fun with my friends. But the balance is, I do it one day, and the remaining 6 days you'll only find me
Okay.
doing it the clean way,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Mm,
So you have to listen to your body, mind, give it that time,
mm.
but always find the right path with the right balance. That's how
Okay.
it becomes sustainable.
What about mental health?
Again, a very
Mm,
important thing that I get asked quite often
mm.
is mental health.
How do you not burn out? You have this immense pressure
No,
before
I
you
do
go in.
burn out.
Okay.
I do burn out.
Okay. And how do you
But
manage it?
see, okay, I'm going to be as cliche as possible.
Okay.
Have you heard of this quote from Batman, why do we fall? It is to
To learn
learn
to pick
to
up ourselves.
exactly.
Okay.
It's you said it. That
Mm.
that is the thing. If you don't have a fall,
Mm.
you won't have that learning curve.
Mm.
You
Mm.
learn, you go to a certain point, you fall, and then you learn again. This is a never ending process. As
Okay.
long as you understand this, you will not break your head on why you're falling.
Mm. Mm.
You'll
Mm.
only work on how to get up again.
Mm. Mm.
Right? That is the only loop that you need to focus on. Fall is inevitable. You can
Correct.
be on top of the world, you can be the prime minister of, or you can be Donald Trump for today,
Mm.
but still
You
you
will
will
fall.
have a fall.
Correct. Mm.
That is a given. As long as you train your mind with the right things, right theories, and
Mm.
practicalities, you can get through anything. And
Okay.
mental health is very important,
Mm.
because if you don't feel sound mentally, the people around you will feel it,
Mm. Mm.
and you will only become a pain. You will always constantly be irritated, or you'll
Okay.
always be sad. You won't
Mm.
speak to anyone. You will not
Mm.
be able to enjoy anything that you do in life.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So that everything
So what do
becomes
you do
topsy
to keep
turvy.
your mental health in place?
See, I
You
keep
do.
it very active.
Okay.
Like I told you, I
Mm.
understand this loop that
Mm.
if I feel low today, maybe I'm broke, or I'm earning a lakh, whatever it is.
Mm.
All of that is just an experience,
Okay. Mm.
right?
Mm.
I don't own anything. I don't feel entitled to anything,
Mm. Mm.
and
Mm.
that's how I handle my entire life. Like, I want to do good things. I want to do it to my best potential, and I keep working towards it. It's a
Okay.
never ending
Mm.
process. I
Mm.
will never be who I want to be, because I'll always be chasing it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's just a myth. As
Mm.
long as you understand it and find the right balance, and
Mm.
just give out
Okay.
love,
Mm.
to be very honest, I
Okay.
think you'll be fine.
Okay. So after winning this title, no, Mr. India
Yeah.
and top 8 in Mr. World. So what were the challenges that you faced in terms of getting the projects that you want? Because you want to work with someone, but it will restrict them because you will be in one pedestal, but you can't come down from that. Mm.
That yes, yes.
Mm.
So that issue is people. Okay, I didn't win the Mr. World title, right?
Okay.
So
Mm.
now it is very hard to place me somewhere.
Mm.
I am Mr. India. I went to the Mr. World
World.
pageant,
Mm.
but now where do I place myself? I made
Okay.
it to the top 8, but I did not get a title.
Mm.
Right? It's the
It's the fact.
reality.
Mm.
Now, how do I place myself in the market?
Mm.
What can I quote? What sort of jobs do I expect, and all of that? And having said that, whatever you do, whatever title you have, or whatever title you
Mm.
don't have, nobody is going to come running to you.
Oh,
In
okay.
in today's day
Mm.
and age, you will have to go out there,
Mm.
work for it. Right? You
Okay.
can't be complacent
Just
that I
because
have this
you're.
title.
Mm.
I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna wait for people to come.
Okay.
It
Okay.
never happens that way.
Mm.
You have to constantly run. You
Mm.
can be the winner, or you can be top 8, or you can be in top 60, or you could not even have the title. You just have to keep finding your way. It's
Mm.
never easy. It's never going to be easy, and nobody is going to hand it to you
Mm.
on a platter.
Okay. Okay. So, what are the do's and don'ts when you win the title? Are you told to do certain things and not to do certain things?
No, I think one of the major reasons why you get the title as
Just
Mr.
because the
India
person you are.
it's because they already trust you with it.
Okay.
They
Okay.
trust you that you won't do something that is not presentable or not ideal.
Mm.
And by ideal, I don't mean that you should end up doing this or that, but it's the basic decorum
Mm.
of how to
Mm.
behave and how to present yourself. That is one of the main reasons why you will become Mr. India. So
Okay.
that trust sort of comes with it. You
Okay.
just
Okay.
make yourself and present very a true self of
Mm.
you.
Mm.
That
Mm.
is all you need to do.
Okay, okay. So, will winning such titles will help any person to pursue their dreams, like because you become
Yeah.
famous and you can start a brand or something.
Sure.
Mm.
Does it help? 100%.
Mm.
Now, for me, I was an amateur.
Mm.
I had no connection to the fashion industry,
Mm-hmm.
or the film industry, or the pageant industry before I started taking
Mm.
part in pageants.
Mm.
That put me on the map. That gave me a lot of recognition. That gave me the right
Mm.
contacts. That
Mm.
that made me meet the right people
Mm.
and the wrong people, which is
Okay.
also very important
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm.
you to know how the industry works and
Mm.
how the whole
Mm.
system is run.
Mm.
So participating in a pageant when you are starting from scratch is
Mm.
going to be um, a huge add-on
Hmm.
and a huge push to your career. It's going to be a great start.
Okay, okay. Can we talk about your brand, clothing brand, gender neutral brand?
Yeah,
Sorry, gender neutral clothing
yeah,
brand.
gender neutral clothing.
Hmm.
It's called Dotto.
Okay.
It's a Japanese word
Oh,
which
okay.
means equal.
Oh,
So
okay.
our whole idea was to create a brand where we
Hmm.
just put out clothes.
Hmm.
Like we don't call it for menswear or women's wear or
Hmm.
for
Super.
anybody.
Hmm.
We just put out clothes. Anybody can buy it, and we are
Okay.
not geographically based or gender based or
Okay.
whatever.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
was the whole idea.
Hmm.
It was a very experimental brand that I started right after college. It was
Okay, okay.
during COVID that I
Hmm.
worked on it, and then I launched it. It is currently under hibernation
Hmm.
because the founders have split to different locations. Some wanted to do something else, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm.
they all live in different countries now. That is the
Mm-hmm.
whole problem.
Okay,
So
okay,
since
okay.
I had other commitments and other
Hmm.
things that I
Hmm.
had to cater to, which is Mr. India, my corporate job, and all of
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
It's under hibernation, but it's definitely coming back.
Okay. Did your corporate job help you in getting Mr. India? Like,
No, no, no,
no.
not at
Okay.
all. In fact, I was in my office when I first applied for my first pageant. I was
Okay.
sitting,
Hmm.
and then I was just scrolling through. It's been a lot of people have instilled that feeling of aplomb in me
Hmm. Hmm.
to go for it,
Hmm.
but I never took it very seriously
Hmm.
until I got that urge to represent my country on an international stage.
Hmm.
And I'll be very honest.
Hmm.
Films I've always loved. I
Hmm.
wanted to be an actor, yes, but
Okay.
modeling and pageantry
Hmm.
uh, came into this because I wanted to represent
Represent the
my
country.
country.
Super.
Yeah,
Okay. So, what about acting? So you want to get into acting now?
yeah, that is
Which
the
industry? Like,
Tamil film industry.
okay, okay, okay,
I was born and brought up in
okay,
Chennai,
okay.
so
So, what are all the things that you're doing to get into acting right now? Are you attending any workshops
it's
or?
it's quite a hard nut to crack, to be very honest.
Exactly.
I'm a little clueless
Okay.
myself, but my approach to it is
Hmm.
go at it with ferocious intensity and find all the people and start just auditioning, push myself everywhere.
Hmm.
It might be at uncomfortable situations, it might be auditions, wherever it is. I'm
Hmm.
just going to show up and say that this is what I want to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe I'm capable of doing it, if I can do it, if I can, or I'll train and become great. All of that is part of the
Hmm.
process. But since there is no written map, or you can't write an exam to get through
Correct.
uh,
Hmm.
and get a film. That's not
Hmm.
how it works. That's not how
Hmm.
the industry works. And there
Okay.
is no exam that'll get me a
Hmm.
job. Otherwise, I would have written it at least 1,000 times by now.
Okay. So does tattoos play an important role in deciding your place in Mr. India because, or in any pageantry as?
No,
Okay.
that is not a
Hmm.
criteria, but it becomes easier for you to diversify
Hmm.
if you fit into a lot of roles.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, for example, now if you want to promote a suit brand, now you would genuinely look for someone who's very clean, or
Correct.
by
Correct.
clean I mean with the
Hmm.
presentation,
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
and you can style always someone without a tattoo who can fit into a lot of roles,
Hmm.
right? That's what I'm trying to portray.
Hmm. Hmm.
And even at Mr. World, a lot of my fellow contestants had tattoos which
Okay.
had nothing to do with you
Hmm.
winning it or
Okay. Okay.
winging
Will
it.
they try to conceal it or they'll just
No,
leave
no,
it
no,
open?
no. They
Oh.
are pretty open
Hmm.
about it, and not everybody had a problem with it.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
I would always suggest,
Hmm.
in order to, not mask it
Hmm.
or be suited for multiple diverse things, it's
Okay.
better to keep it clean. That's how I keep it.
Hmm.
I love tattoos, but maybe someday.
Okay. Hmm. So from what we have spoken, can you summarize like what does it take to make it a Mr. India?
Ah,
Hmm.
you want me to give it in pointers, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And I'll give the cliched one first: build a physique,
Hmm. Hmm.
because that itself is a statement.
Okay.
And be well spoken. Communication
Hmm.
is the game
Hmm.
changer.
Hmm.
A lot of people might be even able to build a great physique, have sculpted abs,
Hmm.
but how to speak and how well spoken you are and how well read
Hmm.
you are about things. Because okay, now you're going to a space where people from 65 different countries are coming.
Hmm.
What can you talk about? You
Yeah.
need to be well read for you to connect with each and
Hmm. Hmm.
everybody,
Hmm.
right? Now I
Hmm.
can go to a guy from Thailand and I can talk to him about tourism and how
Hmm.
their economy works there. Or now I can go to someone from Ecuador, for example, and I need to know something about that country or their language, or I start speaking about Spanish history for that matter, and how the Latin Americans came into, how they are right now, the whole population, the countries, the number of countries that are Latin, and all of that. So I'm just giving you a very brief idea. For you have to be well spoken, well read, and etiquettes is very important. How to behave in a public in a public dinner, or at a public forum where you have multiple people, multiple guests attending an event, and you're speaking. How do you start? How do you address everybody? How to be diplomatic? And these are very key points that will definitely put you
Okay.
as a correct candidate for Mr. India.
Okay.
And how
Okay.
fast you can think also,
Mm-hmm.
because spot on you might get asked.
Spontaneous thinking.
Spontaneous.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. When I was at Mr. World, we had gone to a veteran military nursing house, right?
This is in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, this was in Vietnam,
Okay.
and they split us into two batches.
Okay.
One batch had something else, and second batch of 30 people visited this house, and I was sitting in the front row. Suddenly they're like, you have to get up and address the gathering. Now,
Okay.
how can you connect to a Vietnamese
Audience.
audience
Okay.
who can't actually understand English?
Okay.
How do you connect, and what do you speak? Now you have to be very quick in thinking. What I did there was, I stood up. I told them, if people are able to travel to Vietnam and appreciate the culture, beauty, and all of it, it's because that these veterans fought for us
Okay.
at that
The
war,
Vietnam War.
and that is how liberal Vietnam is what it is today, and we have to salute them. And I asked the whole crowd to salute them.
Okay.
So by this way, they didn't understand the first 30 seconds of what I spoke. But in the end, when I asked my contestants to stand up, look at them, and give them a salute, they were clapped. They felt it. Okay, they
Okay.
understand that they are paying a tribute to us, and which is a respectful manner of saying that you guys are legends, right? So that is how very you understand what I'm trying to say,
Correct.
right? It's
Correct.
how
Correct.
rapid you can.
For this to happen, you have to be well read, and you have to know the history also,
Yeah,
and you have to
you
think
also
spontaneous.
have to have that thinking of, you have to be thoughtful of how to respect others, right? My thought there was not to impress them. What
Again.
naturally, again, they asked me to speak. What I told them was, these guys are war heroes. They don't have legs. People are, some can't see, some can't walk, some can't speak because they were terrified after the war, and
Okay.
so many things. They had to go through all of that so that Vietnam could be free.
Correct.
So the basic thought over there was to respect them. So that you don't need a language
Correct.
to convey that. So how well thought you are, and thoughtful, and about your surroundings, and how you treat other people. See, these are the 5 things:
Okay.
physique, well spoken, well read, and what did I say? Diplomatic, and thoughtful, and kind, spontaneity. All of that. These things put together makes a good candidate, is what I
Okay.
feel.
Okay. Super. So we spoke about your clothing brand. So we heard that you are working on your own coffee brand. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, that I can spill a few beans, but not
Okay.
a lot, because my next venture is going to be a coffee chain, and I'm going to be launching the first store in Chennai.
Super.
Details will be out very soon with the name of the brand and the location and when we are launching it. But it's a very exciting space to be at, because I'm working on something from scratch, and I've always been this person who wanted to be the best of both worlds, which is creative and corporate. For my creative aspirations, I pursued Mr. India, Mr. World, and now acting. But for my corporate space, I started off with my clothing brand. I also worked somewhere else before, and now I'm launching my coffee chain, which is which I've been working on for the past 14 months.
Okay.
It will come into the light, and it's going to be very exciting and a very new concept that Chennai hasn't seen yet and is
Okay.
going to love.
Okay, all the best to you and congratulations
Yes,
on
thank you so
launching
much.
your brand.
Yeah.
So we heard in a lot of interviews that you told that you want to give back to the community.
Yeah.
So I guess through this podcast you gave back to a lot of people who are aspiring models, and thank you for that.
If I could give any 2 words which helped anybody who's aspiring to be in this industry and this line of work, I'm so grateful and thankful for you to providing me this opportunity where
Thank
I
you.
could
Thank you.
give back and
Mm,
probably even guide a little bit for people who want to be here. So
correct.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Mm.
Arvind.
Thank you for watching this episode till the end and subscribe if you find this episode valuable and informative. And please do let us know if you have any questions for upcoming guests in our show. Until then, see you.